Edition LLC with Crystal Edge Technology screens. I talk about a very important topic. I talk about this all the time. A lot of people don't want to hear it, but hey, hey, it's your setup at the end of the day, not mine. I never have to go through this nonsense, and neither do my customers. And some people refuse to accept it because they believe at the end of the day that they are actually seeing contrast when actually they're not reading anything at all, period. I swore, there's every time on camera I do this to myself. I think I got everything ready, and I do not. Missing the gray. All right, so that right there is a star field. Now, if you have to automatically think that you have to up your contrast capabilities, add more lumens to your projector, maybe 4K will fix it. No, none of this is going to fix it. As a matter of fact, adding more lumens to your projector is going to wash your screen out even faster. Some people think because they're in fully lit environments, this is going to help your problem, and it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to take several certified screens and the gray paint and show you that you have to have an Infinity 1 or black level to read it. That's why when you have all these ultra short throw projectors hitting the market and each one's advertising that it works just like a TV, technically it doesn't because you don't have the screen to make it work like a TV. So let's take our gray screen first. Going to put that up there and see what it does. Now, for those of you who make great paints at the end of the day, I've heard the arguments. I've been in the forum sites. I've heard the arguments. That's not mine. Mine would never do that. Your screen is gray. You do not read contrast. I've already had this conversation last night on a forum site where all these people in there make great paint. And here all I hear is, see this? Look, I got but your lights are out. How about you turn the lights on? Here's a link. It's called a star field. Show me in a fully lit environment. Nobody gets back to me on that. How about we take it outside? Just show me some demonstrations there. Nothing. Because again, they only think they see contrast if you're in a dark environment. Then they read it. But you don't. You literally see gray. I can take a cell phone flashlight and I can wash your screen out. So this is how much you're going to get out of your screen if you're using a gray screen. And we got some better tape this time too. So if you look at that, you're thinking, wow, that is an amazing no, it's gray. You technically are not reading a contrast level. That's an illusion. Now, let me show you something. Here, we're going to take a certified screen. Daylight's Dark Star 9. Not Dark Star 9, sorry, Daylight's Parallax screen. Gunmetal technology. And I'd sit there and say, you went to school, right? Oh, yeah, we all went to school. Well, that's good. Do you know colors? So you know that basically when they teach you about colors, they tell you that gray is not black. Gray is gray. And that black and gray and white are considered to be neutral colors. So you know this already. So tell me, and where you went to school at, and they told you that gray was black. Because, last I checked, black was black and gray was gray. So how are you receiving black when your screen's gray? It's just simple. But this is a misconception. That projector companies will sell you high-end projectors with inky contrast to make you believe that you are reading a contrast level when actually you're not. It's almost like the people who believe that their pixel shifting technology actually reads a genuine 4K. Same scenario. All right, so we got the Dark Star 9. I'm sorry, get that mixed up. Daylight screen. I gotta get my Dark Star 9. Getting some tabs for that so we can have it laying down nice and flat, because again, those are certified screen servers. It's taking me some time back here, but I'm trying to get this peeled off here because tape is not going to work for what we need to do. So let me get this off of here. Oh, gee whiz, this thing is just going to fight me every step of the way. I didn't even cut my nails. I'm glad I didn't cut my nails today. There we go. That one came off. That's one tab. And let's get the other one. So my thing is this, what I don't understand. Now, I had these conversations with these individuals in the room, not those. Those, at the end of the day, don't act right. They're not professionals. I got to deal with curse words and insults and emojis and dumb nonsense like that. You know who you are. I go into a room, professional people make professional great paints. We don't deal with that. We have debates and discussions, you know, educational discussions, not adolescent. But I want to have a conversation with an adolescent. I just call one of my little nieces and nephews and have a conversation with them. Now, this right here is daylight screen. See the difference in that? And also, too, should we shed some light on this? Shouldn't be in a dark environment. That's a 0.8 gain on that screen, too, on top of that, isn't it? Yes, it is. So let's get some light in here. There we go. Let's get rid of the curtain, get some light in here. So, as you can see, that's how dark a certified screen will pull, and that's what a gray screen will pull. And mind, this is the Apple Barrel paint, by the way, that costs $4.97. Well, that's the contrast level on that versus that. I say that because if I try to have a conversation with these other individuals who make great paints, we're just met with insults, a lot of insults. They just don't basically carry themselves well. And again, it's embarrassing to have conversations with them because they don't know what they're talking about. OLED demonstrations, contrast. I want to get, let me see, I don't want my stand to be in the way there. Make sure we get these both in line with the projector. You're not paying any favoritism. All right. Make sure we get that correct. There we go. Let's go right here on top of that. So here. That's right. All right, perfect. And a white surface we're not going to need because the whole surface is white right there from the door. Let's put in, let's see, 4K snow screensavers. And this has to lay perfectly flat, because if it doesn't, any ripples in the screen kind of disrupt the quality of the screen. And there we go. Should have a tab for the side too. I want to get everybody nice and close to the screen. If you notice that the white levels on the certified screen are going to come up much brighter. Watch this. White screensaver. See, that's the problem when you have gray mixes. Gray mixes because they have that black paint, regular black paint, nothing special, it's everyday black paint, and they have a the white. They put white in it to try to pick up higher white levels. It fails. It doesn't work well. So if we take that gray surface, I put it against any gunmetal screen, even the dark ones. If you make darker mixes, they have the same problem. They're plagued. They can't read white light. 4K Snow Screensaver. Watch. There you go. But I'm going to show you this right here. We're going to talk about contrast first, but I want to show you it real quick. Yeah, because they have a reflective surface. A reflective surface allows them to read light at a higher level. The majority of all certified screens have that kind of coating. LG Beta Fish, black background. Pass our commercial first. And I keep forgetting that's what they're doing now. They put a commercial within a commercial now. Let's get around that. Do that again. Oh, you can't skip them anymore either. You literally have to watch that commercial. Can we get past this nonsense? Oh, that is part of it. Okay, here we go. Now, keep in mind, if you do make great paints and you want to claim that product sitting up there as your product being just like that, I wouldn't do that if I were you. That's Apple Barrel sitting up there. That's a $4.97 product. Sorry, $4.97 product. So you do not want to match that at all in any way whatsoever. And you definitely want to cheat on that demonstration, because if you cheat on that demonstration, that proves even more that you match the product. Shades right here. Take this down. Oh, that's up my surface, man. Do daylights on the standalone. That's the impact of a daylight screen on a standalone versus a white screen. If I stick that against my technology, that screen doesn't read. But if we take our technology out of the equation, which we're doing right now, we'll show you exactly the improvement that screen will give you over an everyday white screen. That's what you're picking up. As I said before, the screens work perfectly fine. They do what they're designed to do. The purpose of gunmetal technology is to pick up heavier contrast levels. And with heavier contrast levels, you pick up richer and better colors, but they still are going to drop when it comes to white levels, because they have something called a sacrifice field, which some people don't understand how that works. For some reason, they want to coach you as a gray screen is going to pull a high white level. That's the last thing you want to see on a gray screen. Gray screens weren't developed for that. Because again, if you were back in the era where I came from, you would have realized that when people were developing gray screens, at that time, it wasn't gray screen versus gunmetal. It wasn't gray screens versus black screens. They didn't even exist. It was gray screens versus white screens. And the whole argument was that a gray screen comes out dingy and dirty due to the fact that it doesn't generate a high enough white light like a white screen. Gray screen argument would be is that we can see better color, we pick up a better tone of darker colors, and we can maintain some lit environments, which you cannot do. That was a discussion back and forth. So for people to come out and make statements by saying that, oh, the whole purpose of a gray screen was its white levels. No, if that was the case, the white screen would be the one that would be more superior, because again, it reads a 100% white level. You got it backwards. But as when it comes to contrast, none of them read contrast, not one. Now, when they go into a showroom and they take that sample sheet and they stick it against a white surface, this is what they're displaying. They're showing that they can basically produce a much better image than an everyday white surface, even if you have a $4,000 projector, but 4,000 projector, 1920 by 1200. This is a full 1080p venue projector. And it'll read on their screen with no problem whatsoever. And again, like I said, this screen has a 0.8. So if you do have this sample sheet and you are in a dark ambient light controlled environment, you really should not be in there, because that screen can operate in fully lit environments, where a gray screen has a difficult time doing this. or white screen. Now, that's the same surface that we can stick against our screen and we can wash that surface out, which would make our product more superior. And that's the reason why I say at the end of the day that don't be surprised if somewhere along the line you see my product jump through a roof, like it goes up dramatically, because we have the technology now to take everyday our technology paint and overpower physical. So keep in mind, for the price I charge for my technology and the price that screen's going to cost you at the end of the day. I got people that'll sit there and contact me and complain about my prices, and then I'll show them a certified screen at $7,000 and say, okay, well, you can get this. And as for the other products out there, I've tested all you guys already. We've made claims at the end of the day that your products work, and your products don't work because you're missing a ton of testing. It's missing, especially on black screens. Black screens require actually more testing. A ton of testing is missing. On top of that, you got canceled orders, so that's pretty much the end of that right there. We can't get your product down here for testing, then you got canceled. And as many times as you guys have actually literally been on my site, you could have ordered the product by now, which you don't, because you already know. So we don't consider y'all products to be real paint. If I want to talk about great paints, I go to forum sites and I talk to professionals and I talk to them. That's who I talk to. And keep in mind, I was developing this stuff when it comes to great products on the digital and crystal screen paint long before you guys were ever heard of on YouTube. So I would have more experience in that field. But yeah, getting down to contrast, yeah, there you go. Let's go with the Starfield screensaver again. Much darker, much darker. And this is a screen that if you're claiming to be better than black technology, and they don't want to go near this company either, this is called Smartest Surface. Smartest Surface makes a pretty good dark screen. There's a difference between this and gunmetal, because again, the screen is actually almost physically black, but it doesn't match her stuff. We did the test on it already. And it picks up a very good white level at that too. All right, so let's take this down. So are you seeing contrast with this? No, you can't see contrast with this. On top of that, it has that narrow income effect. You can't pick up contrast with this because this reads gray, but it picks up a much better contrast. Gray screen. That's the gray screen. See how bad the contrast level is? See how poor it is? Yeah, because it's poor. It doesn't pick up a good contrast. It doesn't pick up contrast at all. It doesn't even pick up a dark shade of gray. And then for the darker versions, which we did test, they're even worse because their white levels are tremendously low next to a gunmetal screen. Yeah, extremely low, which they should never be called gunmetal. If you're out there calling your product gunmetal and you have no tests against actual gunmetal, then you don't have gunmetal technology. You go to any forum site where they have gunmetal screens in there, physical screens, and you claim to have a gunmetal paint, you better show them at the end of the day, and I mean long demonstrations and a lot of demonstrations, a comparison between the 7,000, 3,000, or 5,000 screen I just paid for compared to what you're claiming in my room. Because they're going to break it down for you. And I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to understand what they're talking about, but you're going to have to show it. So, okay, so what's the difference between my black diamond and your screen over there? You claim to be gunmetal. You got any demonstrations showing this? Can't go in there and talk in those environments. You talk on YouTube and you barely back it up. In those environments, you got to back everything up. So our gunmetal technology, Imperior, oh my goodness, man, yeah. It could take all the, even that black surface, it can take it out. And that screen's gunmetal. That's how dark it is. All right, let me see. Let's go next to smarter screens. This is what's going to happen to you if you go near this technology. This is called Smarter Surface. We've done this surface already on our technology versus our technology. This is another screen you're going to have to go against. If you're afraid to go near these screens, then guess what? Your product is worth what it's worth. A basic gray paint, that's what it's worth. You're going to have to show there's a difference between your product and other great paints. It's a Smarter Surface. You can't beat that screen. We can take that screen easily because the contrast levels on our screen are far darker. On top of that, we generate a high white level, and our colors pick up better because we pick up a much 100% infinity contrast level, but that one don't. That one doesn't. Sorry, doesn't. So the darker the screen, the better the color. But keep in mind, you still have to maintain a white balance at the exact same time. But if you don't, you end up in some of the demonstrations I show you with the 1000 projector. We take a dark surface or black surface, and we take a white surface and put it against our technology, and we show the color red. The black surface doesn't read a high enough white level and therefore comes out dark and dirty, and the white surface doesn't read a high enough contrast and therefore it washes out. You have to get that perfect lock right in between. So could you take on this screen right here? No, you can't take this screen on. Daylight screen would destroy this screen right here, but oh my goodness, anyone got any words on what this will do to you? It's called Smarter Surface. You can pick it up. They have it over at Ireland. But to Ireland to get this. They ship it over to you. It's $25. They have it shipped in. They have two surfaces. The surfaces are cheap. One was free. One was $1. So that's the difference between a Smarter Surface and a great paint. Let's go over here and let's grab 4K snow screensavers. We pick up. And this is my first time doing these tests and doing these demonstrations on screen versus screen. Yeah, white levels don't pick up all that well. I'm looking at it right here. Let's put it over in the center and see what happens. Try to give it a chance. Now, Smarter Surface is good, like I said, contrast and color, but your white levels are a little off. They shouldn't be that low. Yeah, see, I never tested it. Oh, okay, I see that. I'll show you what I just saw. This is another thing too. Sometimes when we have our technology up there, because our technology is going to overpower anything it hits, but sometimes we do them on standalones, or we put them against other screens, against a white surface to see what the reaction is. You can see, it can actually pick up secrets, and I'll show you the secret I just found. Something interesting. All right, I'm going to pause it right there. I'm going to show you what I saw. You see it? You seeing it? You see it? It's called a narrow viewing cone effect. Watch me come over. Well, well, well. Hello. This is interesting. Watch me turn. See, I've turned slowly. Watch this, the black screen. Watch. It has a narrow viewing cone effect attached to it. That is interesting. And this is supposed to be a paint? Really? It has a narrow viewing cone effect to it? So wait a minute. If that's the case, would it operate on an ultra short, bro? I gotta run some tests on this stuff. That's interesting. When you find something always new in test. Let me see something for a minute. This is another surface. And this is a darker surface, and that's a lighter surface right there, as you can see. See the two right here? Let's look at that for a minute. can't. Our screens are darker than that thing. We're darker than that surface. You can check out my test on my site. But our screen's darker than that screen, and we don't have narrow viewing cone issues at all, period. Mind you, we could drop at 200 inches outside and pick up with no problem. I can do front and rear and pick up at 180-degree viewing angle. That's crazy. I gotta talk to him about that. That's interesting. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. They said I had 100. Wait a minute. Let me look at this brochure for a minute, because something's not right here. Got specifications on the back of this thing. Let me see. It's black. Yeah, look, right in the back of it. Look what it says right here. It says it's a smart black projector screen paint. So it says it's a paint, but it has a narrow viewing cone effect attached to it. And it's not reflective, as you can see. It's not reflective. Oh, that's bad. That's not even good. You don't want that. That has all kinds of problems. Narrow viewing cone effects problems can be plagued by ultra short throw or short throw projectors. They usually have that issue. Oh, and if you're looking at the gray paint too, yeah, it doesn't read correctly either. It's not picking up a good white level. It picks up a much higher contrast, of course, but still, the narrow viewing cone effect? Are you kidding me? Like, how? That's crazy. Oh, that's probably the reason why his doesn't pick up on ultra short throws, because of the narrow viewing cone effect. All right, let's get this surface. This is made by the same company also too. And this is also to a paint. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know. But anyway, let's get it up there. Let's see what this one gives us. Gee whiz, that's even worse. That's even worse. How the freak they can't register a white level? They can't read white. It's interesting because when I tested this, I put it against our screen only. I never actually put it against an actual white surface. This is why one of the tests that when you do with projection screens or black technology, which is extremely important, I can't express it enough, is you have to do white level test. And you have to do it with projectors. We're at 4,000, but we do it at 1,000. That's what Old Faithful sits over there and does. At 1,000 lumens. You got to do this against all kinds of white surfaces. You have to do this inside and outside and ultra short throw, because you need to see where your white levels pick up at. If you don't test this correctly and you're testing it solely basically off contrast, you're going to have some issues that are going to pop up. Some real nasty ones. And that's a real nasty issue right there. Next to a white screen, that is literally not reading that good. Now it's just supposed to be black. What the freak? See, I'll tell you something. I start off doing one thing and I figure out something else. When I'm doing demonstrations. This whole demonstration was supposed to be the misconception of screens not pulling black levels. But look at that right there. That should never be that dark. Not for black technology, it shouldn't be. That means that they weren't testing their products on white levels. They were just strictly sticking to black levels. So they were doing the screens on basic standalones. There were no comparisons. Because if you had a comparison, you would have saw that. That's what's freaking me out. I'm not freaking me out, but you know what I'm talking about. They never did a white level test on that technology. And it's mine. It says brochures. This is an already launched product. And look at that. Sorry about that. No, 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 no. Ta-da! That's how you're supposed to do it. I looked at that, I was like, wait a minute, how are their levels that low? Their white levels are way too low. Way, way, way too low. There's no way in the world your white level should ever be that freaking low. I mean, literally, it looks like almost like when we test our screens against black paint. That's what it looks like. Your white levels are never supposed to be that low. So that screen can't read white light. Now, see, this is the reason why when we go to buy someone's paint, this is why they cancel, because we do some really crazy tests. And again, if you haven't done a proper white level test, you're going to end up just like that. And in order to do a proper white level test, you need dozens and dozens of videos on this to prove that you can actually read high white levels with a surface being black. Oh, they're going with the whole, wait. They could be using that instead. So with darker screens, black screens, one of the things they do is they basically stick them in darker environments. I wonder about that theory. Let's see, let's test that one out too. So in darker environments, they have a better ability to be able to pick up images. That's one of the things that people talk about. But we don't have that issue because, again, if we did have that issue, we wouldn't be able to pull up outside. Oops, sorry about that. It would be virtually impossible to pull up outside because all the light outside. This would cause the screen to basically have disruption issues. But that circuit definitely can't read. And that's the lighter version of that one right there. And it still doesn't read. Which now has me thinking. I'm on a whole nother different topic now. We're still going to talk about that, but I'm in another topic right now. That's interesting. I got to look into that a little more. I got to have a little conversation with what I just found out. Get some pictures and send them over. How is that possible? How is your screen coming up that dark? What's going on with that? Let's take out the light here. Gotta be careful. I got a weirdo watching me. I gotta be careful about showing any butt crack. I got a weirdo stalking me. But anyway, yeah. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. See, one of the tests we're gonna run if we get a hold of your black paint is we're gonna run a white level test. Because this is a certified product. Literally, look at this. This is a company. Their white levels are literally that freaking low. And it should never be that low. Because that's a problem. This is how your white levels are supposed to read. So when you take that white surface, it's supposed to pick up. We're at 4,000 lumens. I could drop this at 1,000 and pick up. Now watch this. What is that? That's bad. That's extremely bad. Hold on, let me get this focus getting real better. That's extremely bad. That looks like when we put black paint against our screens for testing. How are your white levels that freaking low? And you can't even see it. Let's take the lights off for a minute. Maybe they're going by the theory if your lights are out, the image picks up better. What the freak? Really? So it has no reflective. The other one had the dark on the edges. How is it that freaking dark? Is it a certain way you have to put it? Sometimes you have a screen that'll say it have to be up or down or whatever. No, it still reads the same way. How is that acceptable? Gee whiz, this is what we're getting to now when it comes to black technology. We're just passing anything off as a black technology. Keep in mind, its contrast level, it's going to pull much higher than when it comes to gray screens. Yeah, definitely by far. It's definitely going to be to do that. But under black screen standard, under our standard, under black technology, the white levels are way too low. Hold on, look at this other one here. This is the other surface they have, which is actually darker than this one. Hold on for a minute. So that's the white levels on that. And this one has a narrow viewing cone effect going off on it. So if you look at it in the front here, and then as you start to turn, you see the narrow viewing cone effect kick off. That's where the screen goes dark. That's the narrow viewing cone effect. Somebody didn't do their research correctly. I'm gonna shoot them a nice little short video and send it over to them. They didn't do their test correctly. Their white levels should never, ever be that low. Ever. Should never be that low. White levels are way, way too low. This is what I tell you. Just because your product is black doesn't mean it works. It does exactly, it pulls its contrast level. The sole purpose of this screen is to pull blacker 100% contrast levels. That's what it advertises. But there's a problem here because it doesn't read proper. That's why the color wasn't coming up correctly next to our screen. That would basically explain a lot right there. Because the color balance was way off when it was on our screen. So I'm thinking like, okay, like it's black. I'm looking at it, it's black, but it can't read a white level. That's the problem. And that's extremely important when you're developing black technology. You're already going to have the ability to pull the Infinity One. Your most important point or task is you're going to have to read that white level, and you're going to have to read it extremely well, because this can plague you on so many levels. It's not even funny. It can plague you in different calibers of projectors. It can plague you in different environments. It has all kinds of problems that it can trigger off, and your color balance can completely be thrown off course, including that if your white levels don't pick up high enough, that means skin tones and everything else will fail right along with it. So it's a nasty domino effect, which means just because some people come out there and they show demonstrations of OLED demonstrations and they show a little bit of color popping up, they think they're reading a white level. No, you're not even close to it. So that's why this is under that Series C nonsense, that crap at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't even come up as black anyway. But anyway, even if it did, you don't know where your white levels pick up because you didn't do these tests. And this is what can happen to you if you don't do these tests. Now, this company's already established. It's already online. It's already running. There's a base over in Ireland. They have brochures. You can see they went all out on this. And it can't read a freaking white level. I can literally go over to Ireland and I can wipe their entire screen off the planet because they can't read a white level. Right there. That's where your white levels are supposed to come up at. You're never supposed to be that dark. Black paint comes up like that on our screens. And it's funny, I come in here and I did this demonstration to talk about the concept, misconception of black levels. But then when I saw this laying against the screen, because when I did this against my screen, the white levels came up somewhat okay. And I'm like, all right. But against a white surface, did we not test this against a white screen? I mean, you would think you would, because majority of screens you're going to bump into on the market are going to be white screens. So you're going to have to make these people believe, oh, gee whiz, unless they're using real high power. We'll get a 4,000 lumen projector over here. Unless they're using something higher than 4,000, I'm going to have a conversation with them. So many questions I got to ask now. I got to send pictures over there of this, because again, how? And if you get close up on my screen, you can see that it doesn't come up looking like that black surface. This screen is completely darkened. Hold on for a minute. Get this projector to move over here. Wow, that is absolutely interesting. So did we not test this against a white surface? What did we test this against? We got plenty of lumens in the projector for this. All right, let me get back to my topic. I got so much. I got more. I'm going to test this up on the white surface, because we know what we do on white surfaces. But I want to see exactly how much this stuff is legit. That is crazy. I never knew it came up that dark. Let me see something for a minute. Now you see right here. I'm going to show you real quick. This is what I think what happened. Let me get my remote control here. Let's go over here for a minute, and let's pick up white screensaver. The one in the middle is absolutely awful. It's okay. Let's get lights on, because I'm used to running the lights on. Some window light in here, because I'm not used to being in the dark with my technology. This is ambient rejection technology. I want to go with OLED beta fish. They didn't test their stuff. So they didn't do a thorough white level test. That's what happened. Because here, if they did this like regular, something like this, like a regular demonstration with some fish going back and forth across the screen, and says, hey, look, our colors are reading correctly. "4K Snow screensaver." They didn't do their job right. And this one right here has a narrow viewing cone effect attached to it. Watch this. So you couldn't even pick that up. If you're standing here, you can't see the screen. So starting from here, I'm going to have to add another part of the title to this. Misconception of contrast, and then basically misconception of white levels on some of these black products. Gee, wait, look at this. Watch this. This is what I figured out some stuff when I was doing some testing against diamond technology, that I saw something pop up on the camera one time, and I was like, oh shoot, that can't be real. And apparently it was real. But for that surface to be that dark, especially on a white level like that, that's not good. So this one's actually darker. Let me see right here. And that right there, 4K beta fish, black background. So what are they doing? They're doing a standalone? What are they doing? They can't be selling this. How are we selling this? We can't be selling this. This is awful. We can't be selling that. There's no way in the world we're selling this. We can't be selling this. What are they doing? You can't sell this. And look at this. It's lighter. It's actually lighter than this one. You can't be selling this. This is awful. And now you know why, people, when I sit there and say at the end of the day, why your product has to be thoroughly tested. This is why. This is why your product has to be thoroughly tested. Hold on. No, we need to go to that, but I want to see something here. I want to see, this is what I want to see. So this screen has a narrow viewing cone effect to it. So that means that wherever it sits, it's going to have to sit right in the center of where the camera's at. If not, you can't see it. So we have to be directly in front of this. Because if I start to turn, the screen goes dark. That has a poor, now viewing comb is that bad? Gee whiz, what about over top? Not so bad over top, but still. It's not supposed to be that dark. And we're not that far from the screen. This is how far we're from the screen. That's it. It's not supposed to be that dark. This is what I talk about. Testing, testing, testing. So, to the person who made the Series C, yeah, I mean, look, it'll message to you. This is a big company at the end of the day. They didn't test their stuff properly. I could find that in a hot second. Just found it in a few minutes exactly what flaw is in the screen. Now, our technology took it out. Again, that's black versus black. But again, you have to do a white level test. So if you haven't done a proper white level test, we could find out easily. Easily find out if your product comes up too dark. Apparently, when we did a white level test, the sad thing about that is you try to make the paint that was supposed to be ours, which was supposed to be a Phantom, which I doubt. No, I doubt Phantoms don't do that. But again, even the fake product pulled a better contrast than your product. That would explain why your white levels were so high, because your paint wasn't actually black, it was actually gray. That's why when the star field came on, your screen came up and failed when the other screen actually was able to produce. Because again, black paint would have did the exact same thing. But this is what I'm more concerned about over here. No proper testing. This is why I tell y'all from the door, before you go out and buy these products, make sure you have proper testing. I'm going to get back to this topic, but still, this has got my mind baffling. That's how it's supposed to pull. That's how black screen is supposed to generate. Because the white levels are too low, and that's why the screen's kind of too dark. That's why you don't have that realistic effect to it, because again, no testing was done. Do you have any idea how many level of white level tests you have to do? It's over 1,000 you have to be to complete. To prove that your product can pull that well bright lit environment. I'm sitting over here at a 50 lumen projector right here. You think, what do you think a 50 lumen projector is going to do on this screen over here? And we could read at 50 lumens on our technology in a fully lit environment. What do you think that's going to do? This projector is 4,000 lumens. So at 4,000 lumens, if we're having a hard time reading a white level, good gracious, anything underneath that's going to be a freaking nightmare. And that's just about every projector you could possibly think of under the 4,000 mark. Anything higher than that, it's going to be venue. So once you hit that 5,000 mark, you're in venue territory. And you got projectors now today that'll run off 4,000 home theater easily. But now you're talking about 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. How much money that projector would cost you? Oh man, that's not good. All right, I'm trying to get back to on track to what I'm talking about, the misconception. But that right there, I got to dig into that. I'm gonna have a talk with them, because that did not do exactly what it was supposed to do. All right, but contrast wise, yeah, it does read contrast wise, but the white levels are way off. Way off. So again, if you have a black screen paint that you just put together with some mumbo jumbo nonsense, and you haven't really done any testing, and I go search to your archive, go to your YouTube channel, I'm looking for at least close to about maybe 60, 70 videos on white level testing. And I can't find any of those. I know what's going to happen to your product when we get our hands on it. It's not going to do well. Gee, that's awful. So what part of that did they think that was going to actually work? Yeah. I can literally go to Ireland, set up shop down there, and wipe out the screens. I could wipe them out over here if I want to. But again, gee, where's it? Come on, like, that's pretty poor. All right, let's get back to the whole topic on contrast levels, because yeah, because I'm looking at the gray screen, I'm like, how in the world is the gray screen? You can a white screen, if you could basically not let a white screen turn you dark and wash you out, then the gray screen can't do it either. The gray screen won't have that capability. It won't, because again, a white surface is going to be much higher than a gray screen. So I'm looking at, how's the gray screen producing such a high white level? It wasn't good, but it's still a high white level. Next to a surface like that, it should be able to register better than that. Not that dark. And then that tells me at the end of the day that your screen is not reading a high enough white level. 4K is no screensaver. That's what you're telling me. My gunmetal is ultra dark technology, and we can blend into the white levels of a gray screen. And this is what I want to see. Really shocked on that one. See? There you go. So if I can do that on a white surface all day long, I got over 1,000 demonstrations on my product at Old Faithful over there, inside and out at 1,000 lumens. 4,000, that's a cakewalk for the technology. And on a gray screen versus our black technology, please, a gray screen, turn our screen unwatchable? Yeah, right. Keep in mind, come April, they're going to have to prove that one. It's going to cost them an arm and a leg. I'm dead serious. It's going to cost them literally an arm and a leg. It's going to cost them a lot of money. They're going to have to prove that theory. If they can't, again, ching-ching in my pocket. Going to have to prove that. Yeah, for those who don't know, some people made some false accusations about my products basically coming up too dark, and they're going to have to fight it in court because we're suing them for it. Look at that. That's crazy. I got to do research on that, more research on that. I did it, like I said, I did it against our surface because that's the only thing I was concerned about, putting it against our surface. But I would have thought it would have been able to pick up next to a white screen. Okay, well, let's get back to the rest of this demonstration because I got more. I got study to do, more research to do. For a black screen, on its contrast levels, good. For a black screen, on its color levels, good. But as for white levels, not good at all. The white levels should never be that low. Never be that low. All right, give me beta fish, black background. So the comparison next to the gray screen and the white screen. Contrast levels, it does read. White levels, no, it does not read white levels. And this one, I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to have a little conversation with them. Where's daylight screen? Let me get daylight screen. Do a standalone on that gray screen on that one. Oh, we need power. Gotta get some power here. I always figure out stuff when I'm doing testing. This is why testing is very important. It's why it's very, very important, because not only do you learn about your own product, but you also learn about other products. And if you haven't done any testing in high performance screens because you're afraid that they're going to pretty much knock your stuff out, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. TCL 4K demonstration. They didn't do their job correctly. They really didn't. Look at the gray screen. The gray screen also too doesn't read as high next to the white surface, because the white surface is going to pick up the highest level. But y'all, I can tell from the door, y'all levels are way too low. The white levels are way too low. I know, I'm on the white level kick. I know, my brain's stuck in that category right now. Because I can't believe what I just saw. They didn't do their screen right. They didn't do it correctly. They didn't properly test it right. There's no way in the world the white level should ever came up that low. Never. Nope. I gotta keep my mind focused on where it needs to be at. We're talking about contrast levels. Keep it on the contrast levels. But sheesh, I'm gonna have a nice conversation when I got some pictures and videos to take to send over. Like, did you guys test this against a white surface? Because this is what I'm reading at 4,000 lumens. Ooh, man. Let's see. Contrast demonstration test. Matter of fact, let's just stick to the star field. Because right now my brain's in another direction right now. I'm thinking in 2 different levels right now. You ever had that 2 thoughts process? I'm going through that right now in my head. Starfield screensaver. It just baffles me how you put the money that they must have sunk into this company, and they have a serious flaw that big. That's a serious flaw. Oh, we gotta take this outside. I gotta contact them and see if we can take it outside before we go through all that. So this is a problem that with black screens that are not tested correctly. You can basically do a demonstration like this and go, look, see our contrast levels, and we're still picking up white levels because of the stars. No, that's not enough testing right there. There's a whole lot missing in that. That's why when I watch demonstrations and I see the other guy who makes that Series C nonsense and you're doing a bunch of contrast levels, you think you're pulling up? No, you're not. Your white levels are way too low. Your contrast is way too low. We can actually read all that. We can see it from there. You came up literally that color in one of your demonstrations when Wake did the test. You came up that color. The fake product that you claim was ours came up that color. That's literally, we just did the exact same thing you just did in your demonstration. That's what you read. You came up that color. Can't be a black screen claiming to be this color. Remote control's darker than your screen. So, no. But even worse, if he was able to make it darker and make it produce darker, then you have the problem with the white level tests. Because again, they have to be done. If you're not seeing a bunch of these tests, I mean, anything could go wrong. Your screen could literally do what this one just did in the video demonstration. Should have never came up that dark. All right, so this is reading, yeah, a 100% black level because it is basically a black screen. Oh man, that's freaking no testing. This is the reason why I can't preach enough when I'm talking about testing, and that's why I kept sitting there when I had the conversation with the woman on the phone. I was like, you have any test videos? Can I see some of your test videos? And every time I test videos, we have demonstrations. I said, no, I need to see test videos. They have white level tests. I'm telling her all the stuff that we do over here, and they're not giving me that information. They're talking about other stuff. They're beating around the bush. And I go, oh, shoot, when this thing gets over here, it's going to have some issues. And of course, when we brought it over here, our screen was able to overpower it, but I never tested it against a physical white screen to see what the reaction would come up. I never did a white level test on it. Now I just did. Now I know a whole lot about this surface. All right, let's take daylight screen. This is gunmetal. Of course, it's going to definitely bring up a good white level because, again, it's gunmetal. And you can see it's black levels, or contrast levels, or not black levels, they're more like darker shades of gray versus the gray paint. Much better, right? Yeah, much better. And that's why that one costs $7,000. Sorry, $6,000. Now we're going to get Diamond. Now Diamond gave us several different lighter screens. We're not going to put those in there because, again, they're not designed for that. This is the darkest one besides the carbon black that they have. And this is their, let me see, their Black Diamond 1.4. Now, the daylight screen is going to be to overpower that because the daylight screen is a much darker screen. But let's see what happens. You never know. So let's get this over here. Put our Black Diamond over there. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Look at that. Hold on for a minute. I'll show you something real quick. Look at this. So when I show you this on camera, you see how light that is? See how light that is? How that looks? It's not as dark as that one, but it still picks up a really good contrast. Yeah, it does. Look at that. Let's see something here. Yeah, narrow beam comb effect. Comes out a little darker, yes, than the gray screen. And the daylight screen actually is much darker. Just do it side by side. And next to this. Let's see what we get. Gray screen in the middle. Go. So now, this is what I mean by gray screen paint makers. That right there is a darker gray, much darker than some of the ones I've seen. Now, I got to mention the people who make these paints. I'm not going to mention their names, but the Cinemax mix, again, it matched Network Gray, and Network Gray 773 is a very light mix. It is. It's a light mix. And the problem with that is it can't generate any form of contrast whatsoever. Colors are extremely poor on it. This is actually darker, a little darker, not dark enough where basically it's going to be like the guy did in the demonstration, because he mixed black paint in his and tampered with it. He should have did one where he had one with the clean seal where he popped it on camera and did it that way like he did the Network Gray. So again, you know, anyway, so as I said before, you can't beat a certified screen. The certified screens are going to pull better contrast and they're going to pull better color. It's just going to be to see better. White levels, like I said, it's going to drop a little bit because it's a much darker screen. That's what you call a sacrifice field. I love when people make these light gray paints and come on there and they act like they're not affected by the sacrifice field. Yes, you are. You do not read 100% white levels, which means your white levels drop some due to the fact that you're not a white screen. So you still suffer the same fate, but you suffer another fate also too. You don't read contrast. So guess what? These screens will pick up a darker contrast. They'll be to generate in better, well-lit environments. And then on top of that, their color balance is going to be much better than yours. So your sacrifice level is much higher than theirs. Much higher. And even with the 3,000 to 1 contrast, sorry, 2 million to 1 contrast projector can't help you. Because if that was the case, when I go check out little videos on the P2, I would see them in demonstrations like the projector I had sitting outside Optima GT55 at 140 inches, or the NEC $60 projector at 150 inches in a fully lit environment. Because your screens can't read. But that's why the certifieds are better. Now, our technology next to the certifieds, well, it's a whole different story. Because we see the contrast, because we read infinity. So let's go over here to our screen. Oopsie, let me try and get around all this because we're a bit tangled up here with everything else. Let me get this disconnected from here first. I'm about to leave out the door anyway. I'm on my way out. I got some things I got to do today, but just want to get this passed. There we go. Let's get our screen over there. And let's take our gray screen right in the middle. Put it right there. Let's see, you're going to stay. Yes, you are. And we'll take daylight screen. Put that right there. Make sure it's laying nice and flat. And we'll take the black diamond. This is the darkest one out of the group. I got the panel over there, but this is actually darker than the panel. Put that over there. Wait a minute. My video back on. And we'll swing over our star field. I'll project it back a little bit. There we go. So, what we've learned from this experience, and yeah, the background of my walls are coated in black technologies, all our stuff. That technology reads the Infinity 1, which means that yes, the certified screen here and here is going to be much better than the gray screen, way better, and much better than the white surface, by hands down, no problem. But next to us, they can't touch us because we read a 100% black level. Yeah. And next to that certified black screen, our white levels are higher too. White levels are higher and our contrast levels higher than that screen. So you just watch me fair demonstration. This is how you do a demonstration from the door. As you can see right there, that technology we saw on our website, that's a $5,000 piece of technology right there. That's a $6,000 piece of technology right there. And anyone who claims a gray pen at the end of the day can touch us, no, you don't come close to what we do over here. And that's why I said, don't be surprised one day if you see on my website, well, you don't see my website anymore, and you'll see yourselves popping up on these special sites where 16 ounces of that technology will cost you $7,000. Yeah, it's kind of shocking, isn't it? It can easily happen. Because we can do that. And for anybody else there who sits there and says, well, I make a black product. Yeah, we've seen your black product. Your stuff can't even produce gray to begin with. You couldn't do black to begin with. I think that's the first thing you want to do, is produce black. That's the first thing you want to do. Before you can make any claims on your product, you definitely want to get that part right. As worse upon worse, I showed you what happened if you don't have it properly tested correctly, that all kinds of stuff can go wrong if you don't do these tests, which I just found out when I saw that demonstration on that other screen showing the white levels. They didn't properly test that stuff correctly, because it should have never came out that dark. Let's get you back over here. Should have never, ever came out that dark. That's kind of, this is a paint, not a screen. That's a paint. This over here is actually also, too, a paint. Let's see. Get this one over here. Now, like I said, diamond works exactly what it's designed to do. Matter of fact, let me put the diamond on a standalone, so that way we can show color and contrast off of that. Show how beautiful this screen is. It's a beautiful screen. It does exactly what it's designed to do. Pulls color, pulls contrast, does all that good stuff at the end of the day. It's just the only thing is that when you stick it against our stuff, our script basically turns it gray because we read the infinity level. That's why. Now, the problem with the darker screens is when people try to make blacker screens, they try to make them lighter, so that way they can still maintain the white levels. And you're going to have a problem if you do this, because we can make our screens ultra black. So if you try to make the screen a little bit lighter, but technically try to make it like it's black, but it's a little lighter, so you can pick a higher white levels, you can get your stuff crushed at the end of the day, because again, we can generate a massive dark levels, which will overpower your contrast capabilities, and then turn around on top of that, we can generate high white levels. You haven't figured it out yet. I literally, just by watching this surface on the screen, they haven't figured it out yet. TLC 4K demonstration. So they haven't figured it out. That's the thing. Let me see. I'm going to do this one here at the bottom for them. Just put this so it's right in the center, because I want this to be right in the center of the diamond technology. Oh, no, I don't want that one. I want the one with the original one. There we go. I want some color in it. There we go. And then to see that surface be affected by such a narrow viewing comb effect, also too on the black surface, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And it's a paint. It's a paint. That's not a physical screen. It's an actual paint. So that right there is, why is this paused? Oh, it's just holding it for the red. That right there is also shocking. How do you have a narrow viewing cone on a paint? Should never have that problem. I literally just set it on camera multiple times. Why is it doing it so long for that particular color? Alright, let's just get something else. See how the contrast is picking up on the screen? The bottom? Those you have white screens and your colors are coming up. Your menu's coming up gray. Shouldn't read gray. So a diamond can go in and lay the screen against a white screen and show a massive difference. Any one of these certified screens can do it. Gray screens just show a difference. They do. But they can't overpower the gunmetal technology, because the certified gunmetal technology is far better. White screensaver. Cottage snow. And so you can read the white levels, but there's going to be a sacrifice in there. It's always a sacrifice field. And if anyone ever makes a great paint and they tell you at the end of the day, hey, there's no sacrifice field, we pick up a 1%, you lie. You can't read 100% white. Only white screens versus another white screen can read a 100% white level. You can't do that. Only white screens have that capability. They can read it. That's a white piece of paper laying against a white sheet. Also, to the conversation we had when I was on the forum site with white screens, we're talking about, well, mine has a 2.0, mine has a 1.0, mine has a 0.1. No, they're all the same thing. You can literally take your 2.0 screen that you paid all this money for, and I can get myself a white t-shirt, bed sheet, tablecloth, whatever. It'll do the exact same thing. The lines say, hey, this one has a bit of a yellowish tone. You heard that one before when it comes to the white levels. White screens say this when they burst other white screens. One white screen gives off a yellowish tone. The other one basically gives off a pure white tone. That's what they say. You know, believe me, go to Amazon, compare white screens. See what you read in the when it comes down to the screen's description. They'll say this one has a pure white level. It doesn't have a yellowish or grayish tone to it. They all do the same thing. They all pick up white. Oh, yeah, I forgot. The screen has a narrow viewing cone. So the diamonds, these particular ones have the narrow viewing cone effect. I'm going to show you something pretty cool. So I have to be standing in front of it, because if I don't, it goes dark. So I'll show you. See right here? We're going to start to turn. See me turning? It's called a narrow viewing cone effect. That's what that's called. You have to be right in front of the screen. And this is what I found interesting about the zero edge. The zero edge doesn't have that. That's why when I went to turn to the side, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to do the same thing, because this is the screen I tested way back. When I first started with, when I first saw the black diamond technology, I started with that one right there. That's what, matter of fact, not one. That's when I started with, when I started, sorry about that. Kind of trying to get this together. When I started, basically my first screen paint was on a digital one crystal screen paint, and put in a diamond against my technology. I didn't see the narrow viewing cone at first. It didn't come up. But later on, when I started developing a darker technology to compete with theirs, that's when I saw it. And this is what they call the narrow viewing cone effect. Usually, screen paints aren't affected by this. They don't have this problem. It only comes in when screens have that kind of reflective film or surface attached to them. They are the ones that are plagued with it. But it's interesting seeing that product over there, which is a screen paint, have a narrow viewing cone effect. But not only that, the white levels were very, very, very poor. You know, you have to understand, a black screen, they say the theory of in a fully lit environment, it's best that they're shown in darker environments. The reason why they put them in darker environments because there's less light for the screen to deal with. It has to deal with the light in the environment. The screen's dark, even though it can absorb, it does have a problem to be able to reflect light because it's darker. So they put it in a darker environment where it's going to have less to fight with. Our technology doesn't have that issue. If it did, I couldn't project off a ceiling while the lights are on. And that's what they find fascinating about our technology, because we're doing things that black screens are not supposed to be able to do. Especially work on ultra short throws and different caliber projectors. We're not supposed to run on those. 50 lumens, we're not supposed to run on that either. That's why you don't see any darker screens outside. All screens outside are white, because they figured they work better. Well, no, that's the worst screen you can absolutely put outside, because that screen's going to fade faster than any other screen. All right, so this is the zero edge right here. Take this one and put it right there. Doesn't have a specific up or down on it. I'm gonna have to pull my charger up. Hopefully we got enough battery for this. So stand out here in the front. Let me see what happens. Yeah, there we go. Because you have to be directly in line with the screen. We don't have that because our screens are not physical. So see right here, watch when I turn. See how this screen goes dark? See how this one still maintains? That's why this one's called the zero edge. This one will go darker. Tired of doing research on other people's stuff. Don't you even think about it, because I knew you were going to do it. So don't even think about it. So which one pulls the heavier contrast level between those? Starfield screensaver. Wait, so the zero edge is actually darker? I thought the black diamond was darker. Oh, now we get good sticky. No, it looks like this one's actually, yeah, this one's just a little darker. Definitely a little darker. Let me put my charge back in, because I'm basically running on absolutely 5% on my phone. That's what I'm running. All right, that's good. No. Because I still want to research that. I have to research that. I'm done with this right here. So basically, bottom line is, out of all the technology we just pulled off and just showed you here, contrast-wise, yeah, the certified screens are far better. Our technology, better than the certified screens. Gray screens, again, gray screen's going to be better than a white screen, of course. But, again, are you going to basically pick up 100% contrast on any of the screens? No, you will not. You're going to pick up darker shades. It's just real simple to understand. The darker the shade of your screen, the better your contrast. But keep in mind, even though if you have a darker shade of your screen, you're still going to be plagued if your white levels can read. The darker your screen goes, the bigger problems you have with your white levels. And if your white levels are affected, color goes right along with it. It's a domino effect. So for those of you think it's that easy to pretty much figure all this out by just mixing some black and white paint together and some glitter with a little bit of silver in it, you're sadly mistaken. There's a lot more behind that. A lot more behind that. It's not that easy. And that's why demonstrations you see on my channel, you will not see on their channels, because you know why? They can't do the demonstrations. They can't do the test correctly. I want to do more on this right here. I'm really curious about how in the world did this even pass a test? How did they test this stuff? How did they test this? That's what I'm freaking can't understand right there. Somebody did not do proper testing. There's no way in the world. So that's why when you see me take these certified screens and stick up against my screen, and my screen changes their color, they don't pick up next to ours, they don't read our color or contrast, because we have a more superior technology. That's why. And if a gray screen or any other untested screen at the end of the day makes that claim that they are the same as us, they're not. Because again, they can't come out here and do demonstrations like this. They don't have any testing under their products. And again, if we do come to buy your product and we have a canceled order on you, or multiple canceled orders at that, that automatically basically tells even more that their products don't work at all. You never had to go through any cancellations for any certifieds or any other paints besides those. Where's the daylight screen at? Oh, it's over here. Back into. Now, out of the whole group, these would be the darkest. They would definitely pull up better contrast than the certified screens, but certified screens would pull up better white levels. Which, again, if you're going to be making a black screen, you're going to have to come up with much better white levels than that. I wonder what the color comes up on this thing. The white levels are that poor. Red screen. Oh my goodness. Someone did not test their product correctly at all, period. If anyone sit there and say, well, how do you know about black technology? I was around before this company ever existed too, because I was developing black technology 8 years ago. This company didn't even exist 8 years ago. That's all I know. And I had more test demonstrations on black technology than anybody else. That's where we put those videos up. Those streams showing you all the different levels that we work on compared to everybody else. That's why. So you don't see anybody putting the same content we do. Right now, you don't see anybody putting this content up. When I see people doing tests against some of these certified screens, they'll stick them in nice, comfortable environments. Try to, I guess, to get on the good side, but I'm not on to get on any good side. I'm not here to get any, what do you call it? I'm not in it for the publicity. I'm not in it for the views. I'm not for anything. It's testing. That's what it is. It's testing that you should be seeing. You should be seeing. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Do fair, detailed demonstrations. I need to call their company because I want to know some more about this, because that's not good. So that's a surface against a white surface. This is all white. Their surface is not supposed to come up that dark. It's supposed to come up nice bright color. And they're not reading that. That's how you're supposed to read red. Their balance is completely off, because you know why? The white level's off. There you go. See, it's funny how people try to make black products at the end of the day. They think it has everything to do with contrast. You're going to get the contrast regardless. Your screen's black. You're going to pick it up automatically. It's going to happen. You don't even have to prove that part. You already have it. The problem you're going to have is that white level. That's the problem. It's going to plague you. If your white level balance is not there, you're going to have some problems there. You're not going to be able to read your bright, beautiful colors because the white level's not there to generate it. You're picking up too much contrast, which we call oversaturation of contrast levels. Blue screen. And this is why I say test your stuff, because somebody like me will pop up and go, whoop, here we go. Let me go get your stuff. Bring it over here. Let's see if you work. And you don't work. Now, unlike this other fellow who didn't do any tests on his product, and his product came up gray, because again, if he did proper testing, he would have noticed that the screen was coming up gray. But I don't even know how you can miss that to begin with. Any time you would have painted that surface down, you would have noticed it was gray. The problem he fell into is the fact he was trying to hide that. How would you hide that? If the customer buys this, they were going to see this either way. So there's no way to hide that. It's like trying to hide a toupee. You know what I mean? Just shave it off and be done with it. But anyway, that's what I used to say. But it's like trying to hide it. You're going to find out sooner or later. So in the demonstrations, if you notice the first ones under that Series C nonsense, you will see that he did a lot of bright colors and the screen automatically went right down to the bottom half of the screen. There were never any contrast levels done. Weight did the contrast levels. And when Weight did the contrast levels, of course the other screen was going to come up with a high bright white level due to the fact that it wasn't even black to begin with. That's why when the screen automatically transferred to the contrast levels, the fake version of what our product was supposed to be came up black. Anything would have came up black. Hoodie, t-shirts, black socks, cargos, anything would have came up better than that product. That product came up gray because technically it was never black to begin with. It was always gray. That's why he did the demonstration again. He removed those two vital areas and continued to talk, not realizing that the arcade machine that he had in the room, which you can clearly do the color comparison, and people were doing that on the forum site, could clearly see it wasn't even matching the screen. Now, you see, gentlemen, when it comes to my table, see all this? Everything that's black? All this matches. Everything matches. All that matches because that's black. But no. You were coming up gray. So, again, not properly tested. So if I did a white level test on your product, you'd have did really good on a white level test because your product's gray. But if I did a black level, you would have failed miserably. You wouldn't have passed any of the black versus black tests because, again, your product can't pass a black on black because technically it's not black. So you need about at least those videos, black versus black, you're going to have at least have 60 or 70 of those videos. And these are tests I was looking for that I couldn't find. Just like when I was talking to this company, I was looking for certain tests and I was asking requirements and they weren't giving me the information. They were just kind of like, you know, just beating around the bush with it. And I said, okay, whatever. We'll get it down here. We'll find out. And look what we found out. Well, I found this out later on because I never put it against a white surface. I never did a white level test on it. Yellow screen. Now, yellow screen, that's the screen that's going to require white levels, very high white levels, or bright colors. And we get commercial. Let's go over here and let's get this one. Now, you see how that looks? That's not good, is it? Nope. And this is what happens when we test out black paints. And this is what we get, because they never do the tests. You need 60 to 70 of these tests done. Because anything can happen with the black technology. It's very extremely temperamental. And this is why when we have customers who may say it's unwatchable, what do we ask? Send it back. Guess what? We can back it up. There we go. You know why? It's tested. Ta-da! Test it. Ain't that right, buddy? Ain't that right? 10,000 videos a man hour. Come on. At the end of the day, I got to know what I'm doing here. Let's go to pink screen. Nice, beautiful pink. A nice pink there. And we got a commercial there. Let's go to this one here. No commercial. There we go. This one right over here is actually awful. It's not picking up anything at all, period. And I'm at 4,000 lumens. I'm on a Sony VPO FH30. I'm not picking up. So if your widescreen's overpowering, then there's a problem there. It's a big problem. That means you're not generating a high enough white level. And if you can't generate a high enough white level, of course, you'll beat a gray screen any single day when it comes down to contrast. And I don't know about color. I don't know about that one right there now. Gotta really test that one out too. I don't know about that either. Because you need both of them to actually generate color. 4K snow screensaver. Yeah. I gotta do some more. I gotta do some videos and shoot them over some stuff and explain to them what I found out. This one has a narrow viewing cone effect to it. I don't even still know how that's even possible. How's a black screen have a screen paint at that have a narrow viewing cone effect to it? What the heck did they put on this stuff to do that? That's really strange. Yeah, I'm gonna have a conversation with them. I'm gonna send them over what I found out. How are you running this company at the end of the day? Really? Seriously? Oh, I know what's going to come up in that conversation. So, would you ever think about... No, we're good. See all these different companies they're tied into? Look at that. Look at that. Look at all them companies they tie themselves into. And they can't read a white level. They can't register a white level. Now you see why big companies are terrified of us. That's why. They designed this stuff and they didn't do proper testing. At all. All this for nothing because they didn't test their products correctly. We can come in there and basically wipe their company off the face of the planet because we can read high white levels and we can pick up 100% contrast levels. We can also read at a 180-degree viewing angle. That's insane. I still can't believe I couldn't read that white level like that. And that's extremely important. Contrast, any surface is going to bring contrast. All of them bring contrast. Any surface is going to have an infinity one. Black curtains, whatever is going to have the white levels is going to be the problem. That's going to be the main problem. If you can't read that, you're going to have a lot of problems. And they're not even coming up on a decent level. They're coming up extremely dark. Oh, yeah. And this is why when companies find out that we figured out stuff about them, the first thing they do is they go buy our stuff. And then once they go buy our stuff and they do their testing, they get back to us and ask if we want to sell out. Because they did it wrong. They actually did it wrong. Oh man, let me go into that chat room today. Definitely gonna be popping over to their chat room. They got a chat, a room they got where they basically talk about their products. I'll be in there. I had a nice little conversation with you. And it's an insult at the end of the day. It is. I mean, the technology is good to a certain degree, but I did give it high numbers, but I didn't do a white level test on it, which I should have did from the door. I don't know why I didn't do one, but I should have did. I had no idea they were coming up that dark. I can't even give you that. I can't even give you that at all, period. Your white levels are way too low. They should never be that dark. Black paint picks up on our stuff like that. Black t-shirts read on our stuff like that. You can't read on that? That's horrible. Ugh. You're not doing it right. I'll tell you. The reason why my stuff is tested so well, because I think of when I test myself as somebody like me going through my own stuff. I'm extremely thorough about everything. Why do you think my tests are so berserk and so crazy? I basically push myself to the next level to make sure that we cover every single thing that we can actually cover. So if I'm like that with my own stuff, what will happen if you end up in one of my shops? I'll find out everything about you in a hot second. I can watch your video demonstrations and you'll tell me everything I need to know about your product. That fast, that quick. Just by your environment, I can tell that quick. Been doing it for years. So now, what black screen at the end of the day? It pulls up its contrast levels. Colors are good because you saw that. But then white levels are critical. That's a critical area. You have to have high white levels. This is very important. Christmas cottage, screensaver. You have to be able to read that. If you can't read that at 50 lumens, you're going to have all kinds of complications that are going to pop up. See, the people out there who think at the end of the day that you can make our stuff or your products anywhere like me at the end of the day, let me explain something to you. If we go through your channel and you don't have the test that we have, you're not like me. Just because you mix some black paint together and you hit that with a projector and go, oh, la, it picks up. No, 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 no. Your stuff is not tested. That's why when we come for your product, you cancel out. Because your product doesn't work. And you know we're going to find out it doesn't work. That's the reason why orders don't go through when we go over to go pick them up. We can tell your product can't read a white level. There we go. Got to be able to read that white level. It's important. So we see a lot of fake black paints out there. I look forward to testing you. If you cancel out, then you already give me what I need to know at the end of the day. Those of you we did give the opportunity and you did cancel out, well, that's your problem. Now you're just going to have to deal with the fact that we did come for you and you did cancel out. So it's not my problem, neither do I care. But as for the rest of everybody else, well, you know, we see you. We're definitely going to test your stuff out. And I can tell, dark environments, the first thing you just told me from the door, if you're doing demonstrations in really dark environments, especially with a black screen that's designed to absorb tons of ambient light, your white levels are failing miserably. That's why you're in darker environments. That's one of the things we picked up on this screen. We saw a lot of demonstrations in dark environments for a screen supposed to be to pull up in a fully lit environment, especially outside. I couldn't find any outside demonstrations. I couldn't find any demonstrations in fully lit environments. Everything was ambient light controlled. Yeah, they told me from the door your screen can't register in well-lit environments. You said you pick up at 2,000 lumens. That's what they told us, 2,000 lumens that they can register under. No, that projector is 4,000 lumens, and it couldn't register under your screen. We can pick up at 50 on a white level test. 50 lumens on a white level test easily. So it means if we pick up 50, that means pretty much sky's the limit on whatever we can do. That's why I tell you, make sure your stuff is tested. This is why if you don't test your stuff out, you don't know your stuff. And if you don't know your stuff, at the end of the day, you can't do returns, you can't do batch numbers. How are you going to do that? You can't have somebody return a product back to you. What are you going to do, send them out the same stuff without properly testing it? No, because they can turn around and say, well, look, he sent me out the same stuff. They could do anything with it. So at the end of the day, you have to make sure you protect yourself and give your customer a guarantee. That's why that batch number is important. And even though after we lost on that PayPal claim for the batch number, PayPal finally went in and saw the batch number and put the money back on my account. Because you know why? It's a batch number. They actually were looking at getting sued in court. Because I made the statement to them, we're going to sue you in court. Because we have a batch number proving that product was tested. So the accusations that that individual made didn't add up to the batch number. And that's why the money was put back in my account on 2 different payments of $81, equaling $162. So you have to back your stuff up. Now, if PayPal makes a mistake that way, other person can keep their money, but they have to pay us. Because that's what's going to happen when we go to court. They're going to have to pay us. But they're going to pay me more than that $662. They're going to pay me about $12,000 because it's a violation of a batch number. So they paid the money up. And it's back on the account. God bless. We got our money back on our account. And business as usual. But yeah, you're going to have to back yourself up. And this is why I love doing the ship back. Ship back's a blessing for me. It's a big blessing because it's something that the customer had in their hands, and now we got it back here. Now, if we tell them and we send these videos out to them and say, look, this is what happens in ship backs. Our stuff passes every time because we test this stuff before we ship it out and bring it in. It's all tested. A customer will maybe, and they feel that they have to know 100%. I don't have a problem with entertaining that thought. I can easily say, well, we have a batch number. That's the end of it. You know, so-and-so and so, blah, blah, blah. See you in court. I can do that easily. No, I try to say, okay, let's see what's going on. Send it back over here. We'll do a test. That's time out of my day that I take out. So I go check it out, test it out for the customer, make sure everything's good, send them back the video. Again, they're good with it 100%. And they go in and go, okay, maybe this, maybe that. All right, then, you know, guess what we'll do? They send us down a half a container of paint. We send them down a full gallon. If they feel that the contrast levels are not ready for them, they're not ready for that yet, then guess what? We make other products too. We can ship that out to them for free. Not tell them that if it lands on their property, they're stuck with it. Or if they open it up, they're stuck with it. I don't know who writes a policy like that. It's awful. You're stuck with it. How are you going to know if it's not working correctly if you don't open it up and find out yourself? And if you can't find any test on it, and there's no testing whatsoever, you're going to be the tester. As a matter of fact, I already have that from the individual making that statement that the customers are the testers. Well, that's pretty bad. How the customer is going to be the tester? What do they know to look for? You know what I mean? They only look for what they're not going to be deceived, but actually going to be proper tested, not going to know all that stuff. That's up for the person who developed it. They're supposed to know all that. Oh. That's an interesting find. Go do one demonstration, find out something interesting about something else. They didn't do a white level test. I wonder why they didn't do a white level test. That's just so stupid. I guarantee they probably sat up there with some freaking high-powered projector. Some freaking insane 4K massive monster projector. And this is the biggest mistake I tell people about testing your stuff on high-end machines. Because again, you test your stuff on high-end machines, and you're going to get a immaculate-looking image. You're going to get a nice looking, you're going to get all that. But you got to put it down into where the customer, what he or she is going to be able to afford at the end of the day. Now, if you got a certain requirement where you're saying that, well, they have to run it off these particular machines, and that's the only way it's going to work, then that's not going to be worth my money at the end of the day, because you just told me I got to spend more money just to get that to work. That's not going to work for me at all, period. That's why we use low entry-level projectors, because everybody can relate to them. That's why we use them. I had to go pick up my packages. I got to go, people. Thank you all, and God bless.